true. This can't be true. It's a monstrous case. Because it's the own father who did this to his daughter, to his own flesh and blood.
Do you think she knew?
We still do not know what his wife really knew.
She took in 3 babies, one after another, and accepted them.
At this point, I want the world to end. Everyone should die. I mean, the world should end. I'm not even joking. I'm not exaggerating. I want it to happen because what I'm about to share with you, if this is real, then I believe humanity has ended. And it might be better if the world did too. I say this because if such people exist, the world is heading in a very dark direction, a very wrong direction. But while searching for such cases and stories, I came across a true crime case that sounds like it's straight out of a horror movie, but it's all too real. This is the case I'm going to talk about today. When the truth came out, even the police thought it was a lie. They felt as if someone was telling them the plot of a horror movie. But when the evidence started coming out slowly, both the police and the media were shocked to their core. Josef Fritzl was a man respected in society, a name people held in high regard. But behind that name was a man whose thoughts and actions were beyond comprehension. Forget about what was in his mind. No one had any idea what was happening inside his house for so many years. Josef was an old man who lived with his wife, Rosemary. Together, they had 7 children, one of whom was Elisabeth. Elisabeth wasn't like the other children. She and Josef never got along. They fought all the time, and their relationship was deeply strained. The constant tension made the atmosphere in their home unbearable. The real horror began when Elisabeth supposedly left home to join a cult. That's what Rosemary was told, but the truth was much darker. Josef concocted this story, but in reality, Elisabeth hadn't run away. She was being held captive under her own home. Josef, with his twisted survivalist mindset, had a fascination with underground bunkers and secret chambers. Beneath his house, he built a cellar. And beneath that cellar, a hidden chamber, a bomb shelter of sorts. No one knew about it. No one knew that beneath their feet, a nightmare was unfolding. One day, Josef asked Elisabeth to help him fix a door in the cellar. She agreed. But as they descended, Josef suddenly pulled out a cloth soaked in chloroform and pressed it against Elisabeth's face. He held her tightly, preventing her from escaping, and she soon lost consciousness. When she awoke, she found herself trapped in a secret chamber beneath her own home. There was no fresh air, no ventilation, and no sunlight. The chamber's ceilings were barely 6 feet high. It had small rooms, 2 tiny bedrooms, a living area, and a storage space, just enough for a few people to survive. When Elisabeth disappeared, Rosemary noticed and started asking questions. Josef lied, telling her that Elisabeth had run away to join a cult and would never return. Meanwhile, Josef was secretly bringing food and water to the chamber, keeping Elisabeth alive. But he didn't just keep her hidden, he abused her. He raped her repeatedly for years. Elisabeth's nightmare worsened when she became pregnant and gave birth in that very chamber. She was forced to raise her children in the dark, confined space with no idea of the world outside. Over time, she gave birth to 3 children in that chamber. Josef took one of the babies and left it outside his house, telling Rosemary that Elisabeth had abandoned the child. Astonishingly, Rosemary believed him and raised the child as her own. Josef continued this twisted routine, and eventually, he fathered 7 children with Elisabeth, one of whom died at birth. 3 of these children were raised in the chamber, while the other 3 lived above ground with Rosemary. The children in the chamber never saw sunlight, never breathed fresh air. They didn't even know the world outside existed. The breaking point came when Kirsten, the eldest child in the chamber, fell gravely ill. Elisabeth begged Josef to take Kirsten to the hospital. When the doctors saw her, they were horrified. She was as pale as a ghost, severely malnourished, and suffering from a severe vitamin D deficiency from never being exposed to sunlight. The doctors needed to know Kirsten's medical history to treat her, but Josef repeated his lie about Elisabeth joining a cult and abandoning the child. The doctors, however, were suspicious. They contacted the police, and soon the story reached the media. Elisabeth saw her own story on the news, broadcast to the world. She begged Josef to take her to the hospital to save her daughter's life. Surprisingly, Josef agreed, but on one condition. Elisabeth had to stick to the story that she had run away to join a cult. When they arrived at the hospital, the police arrested Elisabeth, suspecting her of abandoning her child. But under interrogation, Elisabeth told them the horrifying truth. Josef Fritzl was arrested and charged with numerous crimes, including incest, rape, false imprisonment, and manslaughter, by negligence for the death of one of Elisabeth's newborns. In March 2009, he was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for 15 years. Psychologists who studied this case believe Josef had been planning this nightmare for years, ever since Elisabeth was a little girl. He meticulously constructed that bunker, waiting for the day he would imprison his own daughter. The Josef Fritzl case is a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind closed doors. It's a story that shocked the world and continues to haunt those who hear it. Elisabeth and her surviving children have since been given new identities, striving to rebuild their lives away from the public eye. Their strength and resilience in the face of such unimaginable trauma are truly inspiring. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more true crime stories. Thank you for watching.